Episode 254. This is volume 3, the Stogies of the Week section. We still have live in studio Jared and Paul that are just hanging out to talk a little bit about cigars. But right now we are going to talk about what we have been smoking and give it ratings. All of the cigars, Joe D's cigars, are officially posted on the wiki.
Boom.
And my cigars are posted on the wiki and StogieGeeks.com. Just click on the Stogies section and you can do your comments there, or you can comment anything about the show at joeh@StogieGeeks.com. That being said, Joe D, what have you been smoking this week?
Leading off in the one hole, after we had Spencer Drake on a couple weeks ago, the HR Habano Claro 109, the white label that he had gifted to us. Ecuadorian Habano Claro wrapper, jalapa binder, undisclosed filler. Smoked the 7 1/4 by 50, the 109 size. $11 price point. One size, box of 20. Earthiness, wood, sweetness, a little pepper on the front and back, and some aged tobacco taste as well. Smoked amazingly well. Released in 2016, and this was absolutely box worthy for me. The HR Habano Claro 109, white label. You did?
I got to it, yes.
Yeah, okay.
I didn't do it for Stogie Geeks review. I've been on my Oliva kick. When I did the Gilberto Oliva and that kick there, I did make a transition to the Oliva v Melanio. Quick notes on the Stogie Geeks website this week. When I have available sizes and they're bolded, those are the ones that I had tried. So just so you know, I know what I'm typing. I don't need any type of web help in regards to that. I think I'm doing all right.
Web scrutiny.
But what I had here, I had the Oliva v Melanio. I had the Robusto size. It was a 5x52. Wrapper was Ecuadorian Sumatra. Binder and filler about Nicaraguan. On my scale of complexity, flavor, and balance from 1 to 10, complexity, I gave it a 7. Flavor and balance, I gave it an 8. I did have this week the Robusto, the Torpedo, and the Figurado. I did like the Figurado and the Robusto out of all those sizes better.
Yep.
But from that being said, the Oliva v Melanio was ranked number 8 according to Cigar Aficionado for 2016. I agree somewhat with the top 25 ranking. I'm not too sure if I would be quite at 8. There are a bunch of other ones that I think from my palate would squeeze in there before. But I really think that it should make the top 25 for sure. It's a classic smoke. You get a smooth draw. You get some toasted notes in the beginning that do mellow out. Metal. Man, this boot black is going great, right? There you go, right? They mellow out. You start to get hints of some leather and a little bit of pepper, but at the end, it's very smooth. It's very enjoyable. Phenomenal with coffee. That being said, I think that if you slow down, you can really enjoy this classic cigar for sure. For the rating, I did give it a 5. That was the Oliva v Melanio.
Straight cut, V cut? What do you go with?
I went with straight cut.
Okay.
I did go straight cut with this. But, you know, the Robusto, I probably did do a V, but because I normally toggle to that.
Yep.
But especially the Figurado shape, it just, you know, the V cut, the point is kind of...
A little messy. Yep.
Yeah.
For sure.
So it was constructed well. It's a great stick. Like I said, I would give it a 5. You know,
Okay.
I wouldn't go out and seek a box, but you know, top 8 rating, I don't know. You know, we here on this show, or at least I do, try to stay away from Cigar Aficionado's top anything.
I enjoy my I've yet to buy a box. But, yeah, pretty much right there.
Yeah. So you would be at a 5?
Yeah, 5, or if we happen to have a rating in between that 5 box split area, yeah, somewhere around there. Yep.
Yeah, we haven't gotten notes that we're changing the rating system, so we're
That's
good.
it.
We're staying as is.
Sold. Next to me, I'm staying with the HR. The HR Blue, Ecuadorian Habano Maduro, Nicaraguan binder and filler. I smoked the Toro 6x50, $9 price point, a little bit cheaper. Available in 4 sizes, box of 20. Strong pepper up front on this particular stick, and then it went sweet, and sweet in a good way. Cocoa, earth, little sweetness. Very mild, pepper and spice throughout. I thought it was in for a bang with that initial pepper blast out of the gate. I thought it was going to sustain, the darker wrapper, and it fooled me a little bit in a good way. It was good. Also released in 2016, and this is a box split for me.
Yeah.
The HR Blue.
Yep. Out of all the HR ones that we had smoked,
yeah, where do you rank them?
That are labeled, the one that we smoked on the show, the signature series, the brown label, that's the belle of the ball.
I love that cigar.
That is like
Me as well.
That is like awesome. And when we got them, and then I did think in rotation I was gonna. Did you get to the 58 ring gauge that he was talking about?
Still,
the one that's coming out at 2018 IBCPR?
Still sitting. I just haven't had the time to really enjoy and get into it yet.
When someone had given me a cigar that is coming out for 2018 IBCPR, that's like, I need to go there to a shop and not work.
Yeah.
And this week, being
Shut
the
off
week
all the
after
electronics.
Thanksgiving,
Yep.
I have been to a cigar shop and worked. So I wanted to give it its justice. So I'm gonna try to get to that this week coming up for next show.
Nice.
Over there. I just didn't want to do it because, like I said, it's one of those sticks that we're not gonna get a chance to even talk about till the consumers get them at
Special stick,
July
chipped
of
it
next
off,
year.
and,
Right.
You want
Right.
to enjoy that.
Did you try that little spice bomb he gave you?
Nope, I'm
That
sitting on
thing's
that one as
awesome.
well.
That thing's awesome.
The little Cuban Corona.
Oh, the little Cuban Corona.
That's delicious.
Dude,
Yeah.
that was the first one I grabbed, and I was like, "This is amazing."
I love that cigar.
Yeah, it's good. I had Power Bomb for sure. Your word. Roma Craft Cro-Magnon.
Mm-hmm.
I had the Knuckle Dragger. It's available in a Petite Robusto. It's a 4x52. The wrapper is a Connecticut Broadleaf Maduro. The binder is Cameroon. The filler is Nicaraguan. Complexity, I gave it a 9. Flavor, I gave it an 8. Balance, I gave it a 9. You get just that spicy broadleaf wrapper. Toasted notes, for sure, right in the beginning. It's got filler tobaccos from 3 different regions in Nicaragua. So, in my opinion, total power bomb. It's right in your face. Blast of pepper. Second, third, kicks up in strength, gives you even more pepper. If you're thinking about the size, it's kind of small, like this little thing I stole from Paul Sumida. Anyway, right?
Pirated, Joe, pirated.
Pirated, right? That being said, with the Cro-Magnon Knuckle Dragger, it's very well balanced. It's not a cigar that I would typically go to size-wise, right? But with the strength and complexity of that cigar, I did give it a box split with a friend because it's definitely worth it. The price point's phenomenal. And so, if you and a friend are into strong cigars and you want to kind of stab into that, I want to go medium plus full body, this is a cigar for you. It's available on various platforms, retail shops, online, etc. So box split with a friend. That was the Roma Craft Cro-Magnon.
And where's the setting? Where set the stage? Where were you? This wasn't a morning smoke. Where were you?
This was a Thursday afternoon, mid-afternoon smoke before my radio show. So I was at Vintage, and
give yourself that little wake up call before getting on the air.
Yeah, it was just, and the funny thing is, like I didn't expect it, but I didn't. Coming from Nicaragua, you expect a certain sense of maybe a dryness, strongness, peppery note on your palate. So that being said, I expected it to be strong. I didn't expect it to be that strong.
It's certainly stronger over that Neanderthal, which is a favorite of mine.
Oh yeah.
You concur?
Yep, definitely.
Yeah.
It's
Wait,
good.
the Cro-Magnon?
Yes.
Yeah. Which one is the one with the flat cap? You know what I'm talking about?
Is that by Roma Craft?
Yes.
Okay. I don't know.
It's either the Neanderthal or the Cro-Magnon. It's one.
Well, no, the Cro-Magnon doesn't have a flat cap. It has it does have a round cap, so it would be the Neanderthal.
The Neanderthal.
Neanderthals.
I'm not
I
too
think
sure.
the Neanderthal is stronger.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
think there's and I don't know anything about that cigar, but I smoked it and I really, really dig it.
Mhm.
And my girlfriend Marissa loves that cigar.
She
They
crushed it.
made,
Nice.
yeah, she smokes pissed off Corona Gordas, like the strongest blend that we make in the strongest size that we sell it in.
Oh, she's a keeper. Then.
That's a
Yeah.
good
Yeah.
woman.
No, she's
Lock it up.
she's about it. But she really loved that Neanderthal. I like a lot of the stuff that Roma Craft is doing.
Yeah.
I really do.
Yeah, I do. I've
Really
been,
interesting, really different, really artisanal feeling. Like, just feels good smoking their cigars. I think they're doing a good job.
Yeah.
For what it's worth, nobody gives a shit about what I think. But it's like, I think that they're really, really good. But I don't know why anyone would
good
give
to
a
know.
shit.
No,
but
I
I like them as a consumer. I like them.
Yeah, they are good. They are good. I you know, it's they're just. Joe D had brought that slang to the show, that power bomb. They just you get a strong blast of pepper right away. Some of it mellows out, and then what I liked about it is halfway through it kicked in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I mean, you definitely get the power and the spice, but when I think of Nicaraguan tobacco, a lot of time I think of sweetness, right? Like, I think that Esteli tobacco really, a lot of people associate it with tons of power, tons of punch, tons of spice. I think that the spice comes with sweetness a lot of the times. I really, really, I dig that
I
profile.
don't always get
really
that sweetness up front, but certainly by the halfway point,
Yeah.
you should be getting that.
Yeah.
I think a lot of that would probably depend on the cut, maybe. You know what I mean? You know, do you normally guillotine or you normally guillotine, right?
I'm a idiot when it comes to that.
I like it.
I pick it, or I cut it, or I always carry it. When I'm home, I have a pocket knife. I always cut it with a pocket knife or something. Everybody's like, "You work in the cigar business, you don't have a cutter on you?" I'm like, "Nah, I always forget it, or lose it, or it gets taken from me in airports." So I just
Straight guerrilla style.
I just
love
pick
Yeah.
it or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, and then like with this one, like this cigar's still smoking great, but I pulled off like half of the Joe. You can see, I pulled off like half of the other two caps.
I mean, I have
on
no
this.
idea what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I butcher it, but whatever, I like it.
There you go.
It works for me, and I don't have to remember a cutter.
No. Next to me was Black Label Trading Company, Lawless. Have not tried the stick up to this point. I was excited to get in there. Ecuadorian Habano Rosado wrapper, Nicaraguan binder and filler, $10 price point, box of 20. I smoked the 6x60 Gordo, cocoa, coffee, and pepper, and 1,000 boxes of production per year only. The wrapper is Colorado in color. Owner James Brown, 6 blends in total. This stick was absolutely golfable for me, and big smoke, excellent stick, medium in strength. We catch Paul up on the golfable term. If it's well constructed, smokes like a champ. You know, it's not ashing all over the place. But you could soft toss it onto the ground, lay it down, whatever the case. Me and Joe are into the golf and like to mix it up. And
Or fishable, fishing. If
fishable,
you know,
yeah.
I don't fish.
I don't
but-
fish either. I
But,
fish
the,
a bit
but,
in
but
the
the
middle.
host of Stogie Geeks fish,
Yeah.
so he you know, we've dubbed that term over this year, meaning that because some cigars you have to be very delicate, like you'll have to put it in the tray and take it easy, and you can't be outside if it's windy and stuff like that.
Right,
You know, if
right,
you're on a
right.
motorboat, some cigars.
Who you motorboat?
What?
An actual motorboat.
Different podcast. Different podcast.
Oh, it's me.
So what'd you give it?
I gave it a
rating?
box split.
You gave it a box split.
Box split. Yeah, I think between this and the Last Rites by Black Label Trading Company, those are probably my two favorite right now. Yeah.
I like how, 3-4 years ago, they came on the scene here in the province metro, and then they faded, and then now they seem to be trying to come back.
What do you attribute that comeback to?
I think honestly, it's probably could be sales, region, territory. I don't know any of the details of the rep. I mean,
Time in the market,
it's-
even?
yeah,
like
it's
the
just-
longevity of the company.
Yeah.
More people ask about it, the more people that find about it. The longer that you're in the space, the longer you're selling
that-
cigars, the
That
longer.
name recognition, for
Yeah,
sure.
people start to pick up on it and ask for it.
Yeah, I think so. Versus you get companies like Christoph that have been around for say a little bit longer.
13
Your selection can tailor to a lot more palates than say a Black Label company. You know what I mean? Because they tend to make a little bit stronger, spicier type stuff. There's some mild stuff there, but when you're looking at it with price point and all that stuff, they tend to be known, my opinion, for stuff that might be a little bit stronger versus a line like Christoph, you have it from your beginning smoker, intermediate, all the way through.
Right,
So-
and it's over the course of time.
Yeah,
You know, it's
yeah,
nothing.
yeah,
we
that's
didn't do anything different than
Right.
they're doing. They'll add different facings, and a lot of times these companies, like I said, nobody is in the cigar business because they think they're going to become a billionaire doing it. It's not even a, you know, it's not a business that can create that kind of wealth.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that, you know, James Brown or whatever, he might, that's what he likes. I'm sure he blends to his palate.
That's his wheelhouse,
You know,
yeah.
and if he never makes a mild cigar, God bless him. You know, I like his stuff. I like the morphine. I think that's what it's called.
Yep.
Really, really good. I like a lot of the stuff that they make. So it's like you know,
The
he might
Blackwork
just
Studio, the Rorschach, that little Rorschach.
yeah, that's
oh, man.
cool. That's
He
a
started
really cool
with
thing.
That's a good stick.
with the Day of the Dead cigar, and I gave that a higher rating because it's now he's not using a DACA wrapper, Jared.
Is it the Muerte?
Yeah,
Yeah.
right, and you know, it's a smoother wrapper, and one of the things that I looked forward to was saying if this is the direction of that company going, getting into smoother wrappers, doing that, I'm looking forward to some of their new stuff coming out.
And the
for
other
sure.
thing is Maduro doesn't have to be strong.
Right.
And that's like one of the, I think
Common
for me, that's
misconception,
one of the most common misconceptions.
Oh,
It's
for
the
sure.
difference for me. It's at least like the difference between like caramelized onions and raw onions, right? Like if you take a raw onion on a sandwich, it's bitter, it's sharp, the flavors are right in your face. Whereas if you cook it for a little while, it gets sweeter and richer and deeper, and the flavor mellows out. I think if you're a new cigar smoker, everybody hands you a Connecticut, and to my palate, a lot of these sun-grown or natural style wrappers, or less fermented process or less processed product, it ends up being sharper and more offensive to my palate than a better processed tobacco or better fermented tobacco, like a Maduro. You know, if you're a mild cigar smoker or if you're just starting, I'll give you a Christoph Maduro. You know what I mean? Smoke that. Tell me that you're not getting more flavor off of that, and tell me it's not sharper or more bitter. You know, so I think people have to be careful of that too.
Absolutely. I had sitting in my humidor for a while a Hoya Black,
Yeah, it's a good cigar.
and I said, you know, I when I do my reviews, we get so many sticks either from Paul or from shop owners or whatever, and to put them in rotation, I always try to judge it how I think it's gonna smoke. You know what I mean? And what I feel like. If I feel like something mild and creamy or whichever. And so I finally got to the Hoya Black. I mean, it's been sitting, for me, it's been sitting there at least since April.
That's
that I know, of, which is like
unheard of.
what?
Totally
Like,
unheard of,
you
yeah.
know what I mean? You know, because that, you know, so I had the Hoya Black Robusto, 5 1/4 by 50. Wrapper is Mexican San Andreas Maduro. Binder and filler are both Nicaraguan. Complexity, I gave it an 8. Flavor, I gave it an 8. Balance, I gave it a 7. I liked it so much, I had the double Robusto as well. So if you go to StogieGeeks.com, click on Stogies, you'll see 2 bolded of the original sizes. It's available in 4 sizes. I had 2 of the 4 sizes. Bold spices up front. Sweetness, you get a touch of wood, and you get a touch of cocoa right up front with that spice.
Yep.
Right? Then the second third, in my opinion, really continues more like the first, where you get that really spice up front, right? So I would classify this for a intermediate cigar smoker or new cigar smoker is a good entry level to a full-bodied cigar, right? So that being said, with what I expected from it, I expected it to kind of die down with the flavor, but it didn't. It just lasted throughout the whole stick. Again, I had the Robusto, which is the 5x56. I'm sorry, 5 1/4 by 50. Then I did like it. I tried the double Robusto, which is the 5x56. Both of them, I did give it a 5. And just so you know, Paul, 5 is usually industry. They come in boxes of 20. And
Okay.
so 5 meaning that you would buy 5.
Buy
You would
five.
buy 5,
Gotcha.
keep it, put it in rotation,
Yep.
and
Gotcha.
stuff like that.
Gotcha.
How do you slot it in unison with the Hoya Red? I'm more on board with the Red.
Yeah, I've had the Hoya Red pre-Stogie Geeks curriculum here,
Yep.
right? Pre being on the show. Notes on the top of my head, I would probably sway more towards the black.
I think the Antonio Dark Rojo is the best cigar that Hoya de Nicaragua makes.
I absolutely yes, for sure. That's
Yep.
That's I remember when we
I think
first got into
if I'm gonna buy a Hoya, I'm gonna buy the Antonio Dark Rojo.
Mm-hmm.
I think That is a masterful way to process Corojo.
I think that's a big mover too.
It's oh my gosh, that cigar is it's exceptional.
Yeah, that I would probably give it definitely a higher rating than a 5er. Probably off the top of my head, I'd probably give it box split with friend. You know what I mean? Because there's so many other cigar sticks that are jockeying for position and trying to get in there. But if you can find a good price point at a good shop, local retail shop first. If not, then go online. But yeah, for sure, I would give the Antonio a box split with a friend. I wouldn't do a total box split for myself. Like I wouldn't buy 10 for myself. But if you could get a good deal and whatnot, for sure, because it's a great golf stick.
Oh
you know, it's a great golf stick for sure.
Nice. Next to me was Ivy Cigars.
Who?
Here we go.
Wait for it. Hold
Joe
on.
D had a concoction like the fighting cock. Remember that one?
I got it right next door. Ecuadorian Habano.
The what? What was the name of it?
Ivy.
IVY?
Ivy.
Who makes it?
I'm going to get to it. Hold on.
Oh, please do.
Oh, I know.
Did you post this on the wiki?
That's
Check it out.
Viva Republica,
Yes,
right?
it is, yeah.
Yeah, that's distributed by La Aurora. That's a good cigar. Or Miami.
Ecuadorian Habano Corojo 2008. Double Cameroon, Dominican binder, Dominican filler, and Dominican and Nicaraguan filler. 5 1/4 by 43. Smoked the Lamont, which is Corona. $12 price point. 3 sizes, 10 count box, limited to 100 accounts initially. Viva Republica, which also is known for guerrilla warfare, propaganda, rapture.
Anarchy.
Yep.
Maybe.
Yep. Inspired by JFK smoking at Harvard. It's when Jason Holley had attended college as well, and I wanted to do a little something different with this brand here. Owner and founder of Viva Republica, and you've seen on episode 137. Any of our listeners want to take a ride back there?
What, they were there?
No, see the interview. With Jason Holley. I want to give him the full ride.
God, that's
Full
why you're
appreciation.
Cold Rain Man. He always does the historical spot. He's so detailed.
Some people enjoy it. I happen to enjoy it, so maybe somebody else will.
Absolutely.
This particular stick, I give it a 5 or 2. It was different for me. I like to factor in the price point. If the price point was a little bit cheaper in the $8 to $10 range, maybe that rating goes up for me a little bit. But for $12, it's a 5er. That's where I'm at.
That's a big challenge.
It's such a hard price point to compete
Yeah,
in.
you bring
Oh,
up
my
a great
gosh.
point. You bring up a great point, and
And
I'm so glad that you're
I
here,
hate to factor
Jared.
that in, but it's a factor. It's a factor for me.
If you
is-
smoke cigars, that's a factor.
Did
What you spend on it
Right.
makes a difference. It has to demonstrate value. But am I at $12? Am I buying that, or am I buying a Padron 64 Diplomatico?
right,
That I don't know.
right.
I mean, I do know.
Oh, yeah,
But
I
it's
really
like,
know,
Right.
what are you? It's such a hard price point to break into.
Yeah, and you know what I've been noticing though, from a consumer perspective, and I've noticed that some of the cigar companies say that are 2 years old have come into the market. They were in that 8 to 10, and what I've noticed is that they're slightly bumping it up.
Well,
Yep.
because the cost of doing business goes up.
I get that,
You know,
but consumers
don't know that. They
Yeah,
don't
it
give
goes-
a shit, and they shouldn't.
They
Yeah.
shouldn't. All they know is that it used to cost them 10, now it costs them 12, and for 12 they can get something that has a track record.
And if you've been smoking cigars for 30 years, it used to cost you 2,
Right.
and now it costs you 12.
Right,
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
For a nickel, I
Yep.
got-
yeah, right. I
I
used to
see what you're
ride my horse to the convenience store.
Right.
But seriously, I mean, it's so funny because that's one of those things that perspective really helps with. Because when I was a consumer, and and Joe, you've known me for more than 10 years.
I've known
It's
you
like-
since you were 16.
Yeah, which wasn't creepy, by the way, everybody. It was totally consensual. So I've known Joe
He was
for
a
long-
wrestler, punk.
Yeah, I was yeah.
You were never a punk. You were always a good kid.
But I, as a consumer of cigars, for the vast majority of the time that I've been smoking, I was just a customer, and I still, to some extent, am mostly a customer.
We all are, yeah.
I was very price conscious, not because necessarily. I mean, I would go out and I'd spend, $18 on a glass of scotch or $30 on a glass of scotch or something like that, and be like, oh, it's worth it because I know that I like that. But with cigars, I'd be like, shit, I could get this for $9.79, and it's $10.05 here.
Right.
It's like I'm complaining about 30 cents or 40 cents. But seriously, you have to factor that in. You really do.
Yeah.
And the cost of manufacturing cigars, the cost of marketing in a highly competitive business, the FDA user fees, which
Sure.
have come into play.
Yep.
And it's totally not an excuse, because some companies use it as an excuse, right? Some companies will do 5 price increases in a fiscal year. We've done 3 in 13 years.
Wow.
You know, some companies do 3 a year or more.
Yes.
As a result of, oh, well, it's the FDA, it's this, it's that. It's, pigs eat, hogs get slaughtered.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
You don't take advantage of the consumers, period. But the cost of doing business really has gone up. We have to hire lawyers. We have to make sure we're in compliance with a lot of things. It was the Wild West before. And price increases were because we wanted to do them, not because we had to do them. At this point,
Necessity,
a
yeah.
lot of companies, you have to do them. That being said, your cost of selling and marketing and manufacturing a cigar, sometimes the price is the selling point, right?
Yeah.
If you think with your marketing and your name and the branding and all that stuff, you can get away with selling a cigar for $12 or $13 or $14. If you think that the cigar, I mean, come on. Does it cost you that, like at Keystone? Like, is your wholesale cost of that cigar whatever it is? No, probably not. But if you think your branding and the messaging and the band and everything, the whole story behind it, you can get away with selling it for $12, $14, why wouldn't you want to make an extra 40% on your money?
Sure.
Yep. And let your customers do the same. So,
but what I've noticed is that the ones that have increased with,
and I'm not saying this about this particular
No,
cigar, by the way.
I get it. Yeah,
I'm just talking about
I know.
the industry
Yeah,
as a whole.
it's why I love taking advantage of when you're in studio, because we can get both perspectives,
Yeah.
and we can finally take it out of the province metro and more have a global discussion about that, because some cigar shop owners, I have seen a couple vendors over the past year raise their prices 2-3 times within the same year. And the first time I've seen on 3 occasions, the cigar shop owners, they eat the first one. So now they're making less than Keystone, right? And the second one comes up, and they try to go up like a nickel or 10 cents, and the customers stop bitching. And then when they can't sustain the business anymore because they can't let it go for X amount under Keystone plus tax, right? And then as we know, in Massachusetts, it's 40% of the stick versus a cap tax of just 50 cents. So it adds to the end point of the consumer. They're like, okay, I got to raise it up. So now the cigar shop owner takes a chance and raises it up to full Keystone. Guess what happens? With more cigar owners, hey, I have this product and I want to sell this, and it's within the original price point of what it was. Guess what happens?
Right.
Those sticks now sit on the shelf.
And there's no switching costs,
Right.
The best way I like to look at it is like I fly American Airlines, right? Right, wrong, or indifferent, that's who I fly. I have status with American Airlines. I get to board first. I get upgrades all the time. It's fucking great. The opportunity cost or the switching cost for me to go to another airline is great. A lot of my convenience, my time, the seats I get to sit in, the way that I get to pick my seats, it costs me something. When you walk into that humidor and I'm selling a $10 Christoph and you're selling a $10 Joe D stick,
Yep.
what is the switching cost? It doesn't exist. It costs you the exact same amount of money.
True.
The only switching cost is whether you're going to like it as much as you like the previous thing. So when you go out there and you say, oh, well, I can buy something that's really good for $10, or I can buy another thing that's also really good for $12, well, you know what? I'm not trying to brag or anything like that. I don't need to smoke with the label facing out, showing everybody that I spent more money than you. That doesn't make you smarter. That makes you dumber. You spent more money for the same experience. That's why when I see guys that are like, oh, I've been smoking money makers for, 10, 15 years. It's like, God bless, man. If that's what you like,
Right.
go for it.
Right.
Go
Yeah.
for it. I mean, I only use that particular example because they're out of business, so I'm not like shooting across the bow on anybody. But it's like, if you like something that's that price point and that makes you happy, God bless. If you like smoking, a $100 Davidoff something, God bless, man.
Yeah.
If that's what you like, if it gives you that experience in the lounge, God bless. I don't care what you spend on it.
Yeah.
But there's no switching costs. So you really have to be careful as a manufacturer going into a space where you have to think, who am I competing against, and can I take their market share? And the answer most of the time is no.
Yeah.
Because the guys that are successful in that space are successful because they've been successful for 30 years or 40 years in that space.
And brand loyalty, it goes so far, but when you get comboed with 2 and 3 hits in a row there, then maybe take a step back and evaluate the rest of the choices, and they're plentiful. You know?
Yeah, I've seen cigars sit on the shelf that have historically moved, and you know, and it's only, you know, if there was a magic wand where no one else, because the barrier to entry is historically lower for a cigar company to enter now into the industry, you're gonna have more and more people banging on doors of cigar shops to say this, and like Jared said, the opportunity cost, they're gonna spend, if $10 is their limit, and all of a sudden you left Keystone and it goes to $10.50, you're off the shelf in that consumer's mind.
Yeah.
Because that's the limit. Because I believe that everyone has a budget of what they're comfortable for, whatever it is that they want to do. They smoke cigars, they can do pipe tobacco, they can do go to a restaurant, et cetera, et cetera.
Stock up on paper towel.
You know, stock up on paper towels.
Yeah, that's where I put my money.
Whatever they want to do, you know. And so, very, very excellent points, Jared, for bringing that up. It's amazing how they just, oh yeah, well, it's just going up, and it's just you know, I get it. You have to pass the price on to the consumer, but that whole brunt, like, you got to be very, very careful, because you can price yourself out of the water in this industry, and especially in this industry. A box, any cigar shop on Main Street, USA, can buy 5 boxes, and they'll blow through 4 boxes in 1 week, right? And it would take them 5 months to go through that final box, if that's their final box through, which is due to presentation stuff, which is why you say that, you know, you bring your reps on, you want them to make sure all the facings are correct and all that, and bring all the product to its forefront and make sure that your section is neater.
That's your real estate.
You know what I mean? Because
the customer doesn't owe you shit.
Right.
The customer doesn't owe me selling my cigars.
Right.
I owe them.
Yeah.
Thank you for the opportunity to be on your humidor. Thank you for the opportunity to be in your shelf. Now I need to demonstrate to you that I care more about selling the product than you do.
Right.
You know, because the customer's got, you know, 20 other brands that he's got to sell. And he doesn't give a shit what goes through the register as long as he
Something
makes the
goes
right
through the
margin.
register. Right.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly. So it's my prerogative to sell it, not theirs.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it's good points. Very good points. So my turn? Is there a real rotation?
I've got 2 left, so.
Oh, yeah, I have 2 left as well. So I can't go through an episode. What is it, Joe?
La Fuente?
Nope. Viaje.
Hey.
Viaje.
That was the second choice, yeah.
Jared's like, fanboy. Right?
I didn't know this about you, Joe.
you
I didn't
didn't
know you were a Viaje fanboy.
Oh, yeah.
Are you serious?
Oh, yeah.
No, I didn't know that.
He's
Are
dug in
you-
deep. Yep.
Yeah. I had the Viaje birthday blend, 2016. Size I had was Bellicoso, 6x52. Mexican, San Andreas Maduro. Binder and filler, both from Nicaragua. Complexity, gave it a 9. Flavor and balance, I gave it an 8. Very, very peppery, fairly smooth, and full body as soon as you light it up. Awesome smoke, right?
Where do you even get those here?
You...
Or you tell me later.
No, it's
I
not.
don't see. I've not seen them around. I've never. I'm embarrassed to say I have never smoked a Viaje cigar.
Cigarshed.com.
Cigar. Oh God.
Vintage.
Yeah, it's like
No, the second third continues with a deep trend of leather notes. Like, if you're looking for, like, leather 101, this is it. Now, when I first had
this goes back to the motorboating.
Right. There
Leather
we go.
101.
No comment.
Right. When I first had this cigar, I had it 3 months ago. Okay. And my first take, I did review it on Stogie Geeks, but not officially. It was kind of like a throw-in cigar when we had some other things. And then I said, I really want to let it rest. So I let it rest, had this cigar. Overall flavor of the cigar is very, very dry. You get that dry tobacco earthiness right there, right? Final 2 inches settles into it settles right on the back of the tongue in strong leather components all the way till the end. That being said, since it had rested, it's 2016.
Yep.
So it came out over a little bit over a year ago. That being said, it's available in boxes of 38. So it's kind of bundled. It's weird pricing. It's part of that. Viaje has like a white label project. I have another one coming out next week that I'm going to talk about. They come up with the white label project, making it different than some of the other original stuff, some of the other theme stuff that they've came up with. But because it has a box of 38 and it comes bundled, I enjoyed it a lot, but I did give it a box split with a friend because I don't think that my psyche would ever buy like a box split of anything. You know what I mean? You know. So I would probably, convince a friend, hey, you like Viajes? Let's do this up,
Yep.
And fortunately for me, I have a friend who's very much into Tatuaje Viaje. So we do some pretty good box split stuff there too. So that was the Viaje birthday blend, leather component for days.
Nice.
It was so good. I had it on the golf course, front nine. I didn't, and then I had what I had in my humidor. For the thing, I didn't even light up for the back nine. Like, I was like, I am just done. That was not done like, the smoke component or anything like that. I was just like, dude, that was so epic, awesome.
Today, it can't get any better than it did today. That front nine.
Yeah, it was just like,
Great stick.
and I probably should have lit up a stick because I melted on the back nine. But anyway, that's what happens when you golf in New England this time of year. You kind of fade quick.
Yep. Next to me was the Avo Classic. Ecuadorian, Connecticut wrapper, Dominican binder and filler, $8 price point, 6 sizes, box of 20. Smoked the Robusto 5x50, earthy to start, and then it goes creamy as all hell. Really enjoyable. Produced by Davidoff, mild in strength. Flawless burn line and smoke production. Really enjoyable, smooth cigar. Amazing taste. Just one of those classic sticks. And box split for me all day. The Avo Classic.
Yeah.
I had yet to review
You said
it on
box
the show.
split?
Box split.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'd probably, I would.
You go to Boxworthy down there?
It's close.
Yeah.
It's close. I have a reputation on Stogie Geeks. I don't really box worthy stuff, and you know what I mean. But it's right there with just what it is.
It was it was tough. I went back and forth with the Boxworthy and the box split. Just there's so many sticks I truly enjoy out there that. What I absolutely spoke about, box of it, absolutely all day. But in the shop, given that one chance, I'll go with the box split and then reach out to a little something else.
Do you have any in rotation?
No, I don't. No.
Yeah.
This is gifted to me, but it's one of those sticks that I've recently been smoking the last couple of weeks, and it's just as good. It's consistent every time.
Yeah, I'm sure you've had it, obviously.
Yeah.
It's just
Timeless,
it's
great
just,
profile.
It's a timeless classic. Avo, you got Padron. They're just right there.
Do you remember? Maybe it was 3 or 4 years ago. They made this it was like a sampler with all the different years of Avo. I know Paul Asadori and I both were smoking through the sampler at like the exact same time.
Minus number 5.
Yeah.
Yep.
That
All the
was
years.
really, really, really killer.
They don't do it anymore?
I don't know.
No, they ran out of the tobacco.
Oh, yeah?
On number 5. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not in that case.
Yeah. Well, they're focused on their Nicaraguan focus.
Yeah, their rebranding is
Which,
really nice.
it's funny because it's you start to talk about like the Nicaraguan and the boutiques coming in, and most of the boutiques come from a component of their cigar comes from that region. When you're talking over, say, the past 30 years or 10 years, and it's one of those things where when you start to see companies like Avo, Romeo and Julieta, the classic ones that were primarily known for, say, Dominican, and they switch to a combination of putting a Nicaraguan component within their cigar, it's really a test to the region.
Yeah,
for them.
unbelievable tobacco.
Have you ever had the Ritmo?
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think? That's a complex.
Yeah. There's a lot
Hootenanny,
going
that
on.
thing.
There's
That thing.
a lot going on.
That thing. There's a lot going on in there.
Yeah.
7 different regions. Yeah, it's.
You want to give it an official rating, or you?
No,
No, that's good.
Abstain.
You stay neutral. I got you.
I stay neutral.
I respect neutrality. Yeah, I get it. I
love
got
them
it.
all.
We had Carson on the show. I was like, you want to know? I'm not
We
gonna
try to pin him down.
Yeah, absolutely. The final stick I have for this week is the Caldwell Tea. Okay, I had a couple of different sizes because Caldwell had released 3 sticks over this past 6 months. The Tea being one of them, collaboration with AJ Fernandez and Matt Booth. Then they did a collaboration with Drew Estate for the All Out Kings. Then they did a collaboration with, I'm having a brain fart, but for the Hit and Run.
That was Matt Booth as well.
Okay.
Yep.
Then they had there. And I don't want to put those three like in a segment, but since those were the latest releases from those three, I guess you naturally have to, because I honestly think that the consumers have probably maybe had all three within their experience. So if you've had the Caldwell All Out Kings, or if you've had the Caldwell Hit and Run, or if you've had the Caldwell T, email me at joeh@stogiegeeks.com. Let me know what you think, if you can put them in order there, just so I have kind of some basis of comparison. But what I've noticed is that the Hit and Run and the T are what I call ready. Like, in other words, they were there and they're ready to smoke.
That
You know what I
Corona
mean?
Gorda size specifically on the Hit and Run is lights out.
Let me tell you something. The Caldwell T and the Caldwell Hit and Run put an administrative stumbling block in my Stogie Geek critiquing because, you know, you can only have so many cigars and so many X amount of time and all of that stuff, and to sit down and actually critique these things, right?
Right.
You know, but out of those three that have came out, those have been my real go-tos to go back to.
Yep.
So that being said, with the Caldwell T, it's available in 5 different sizes. I've had 4 different sizes. I've had the Short Churchill, the Robusto, Toro Grand, and the Toro. They're all bolded extra on StogieGeeks.com. Click on the Stogie Geeks section there. As I said, this was a collaboration. It originally was dubbed The Truth. Then they shortened it to the T. This came out 2017 IPCPR. There's only a limited production of only 100,000 cigars. I don't know how that works in regards, because, you know, when they come out with marketing 100,000 and then all of a sudden there's extra boxes. I'm not accusing anybody of anything. I'm just saying, if it does well, there has to be some more
Inside
left,
baseball.
because I would imagine that this stick would move in that direction of people are probably thoroughly enjoying the stick there. The only thing I don't like about the stick is I'm not a big fan of the box press. Is very few cigars that I do like full box press. But that being said, you do get notes of chocolate and leather. Good cigar. All of the sizes I have, I did give it a 5. They're available in boxes of 10. Some of the like, for example, the Short Churchills boxes of 10. The Robustos boxes of 20. Toro Grand is boxes of 20. Toro is boxes of 20, and the other one. So the only one that's really available in boxes of 10 is the Short Churchill. As far as size-wise, I like the Robusto, and I did like the Toro Grand, which was a 6.5 by 56, because I wanted to try like the different ring gauges.
Yep.
There. I did enjoy it, but I would rate all of them 4 or 5. You know, I would grab them. If you see them out in your shop, grab them. I don't know if there's a sense of urgency with only 100,000 sticks. Maybe you can put that in perspective. 100,000 sticks is what, when you regionalize that? Like, if you were to come up with, like, how does that work?
Yeah, that's like half of a production run, or
Okay.
maybe a full production run, depending on the impact of the SKU. That's 100,000 cigars is for a new brand that's coming out.
Mm-hmm.
If you amortize that across 5 sticks, you know what I mean? That's not
Right.
really 5 sizes. That's not really that much. But
Okay.
there's probably, I would imagine, again, and I say this all the time, we're in the business of selling cigars.
Right.
If you have something that's selling, how many times have you heard companies say, "Oh, I just tripped over this Bilone of 18-year-old Corojo"? It's like it's the size of a fucking Volkswagen Beetle. You know, like you don't trip over that shit left and right.
Right.
So, especially some of these smaller companies. So, if I would imagine, you do stuff like this to test. You know what I mean? Like you put out a brand that you think is going to do well, that you think smokes well, that you think the customers are really going to like. And if it gets legs, you do offshoots of it. You know, we're not in the business of producing something that's successful and then,
One-time
oh,
wonders, yeah.
shit, no.
Right.
Well,
Sustainability.
I wish we didn't say we made 100,000 cigars. You know, it's like you're in the business of selling cigars. So that's just what their production run. That's probably what their first release. And if it gets legs, then I'm sure they'll come out with some more.
Right. And what I'm starting to notice, cigar trend, kind of side note, is we're starting to see this year, and I imagine 2018 IPCPR, we're going to see a lot of collaborations.
Oh yeah, that's like the thing.
That's like
and it's always been the thing.
Right.
But it's this year. It's like it's brand, it's recognizable guys that are
The big
that
boys are getting together for
look at what AJ Fernandez has done this year. I mean, what an unbelievable portfolio.
Everybody.
He's made stuff for a ton of different people, or Ernesto Carrillo doing what he's doing with Crowned Heads and with different companies. Like this is the year where a lot of these companies are leveraging the strength of these brands and the blending prowess of a lot of guys. Like AJ is a wizard with tobacco. I mean, he's like the way that he grows, the way that he blends. He does some great shit. So it's like they're leveraging the power of those brands. It's really, really interesting dynamic. You know what I mean? That's like, Paul, if in your business, like if you came out with a cardamom, lime, ginger syrup with roses, it's like you kind of on the surface you're like, huh? Why would I co-brand with my biggest competitor or somebody who's in a competing space? But you're leveraging the strength of their branding and the strength of their stuff. So and you're accessing it for market. Oh yeah. If you're listening, Roses.
You heard it first, right?
Yeah.
Right.
But yeah, it's a really interesting dynamic, and I think that's probably going to continue in the cigar business.
How are you? Are you guys potentially getting involved in any of that, or
No.
there's no?
It's.
I have to ask, right?
Yeah,
I
I understand.
Have to ask industry because
I understand. Listen,
if there was, you could say that you've heard it here first, but you know.
No,
like,
if there was somebody who was really, really interested in, if we were really, really interested in making a cigar with somebody else, we would absolutely do it. Like we've got the relationships, we've got the brand recognition, where I think that could be something really cool. The fact of the matter is, our product, we've never needed to do that.
Sure.
Not saying that these companies need to do it, but we've never needed to do that to sell cigars, and I'd much rather keep the solvency of our brand.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like I would much rather you smoke a Christoph by Christoph than a Christoph by anybody else.
Right. But you know what I'm noticing? Like I said, as a consumer, I'm noticing that my prediction, like because we usually do this around May here on Stogie Geeks, where we kind of give like the sticks, because by then we've heard like some of the rumors of what's coming out and what we're looking forward to. So we kind of do like a precursor to IPCPR. And if I could already give a prediction for 2018 IPCPR, that's the big international pipe show convention. Cigar smokers over. It's in different section every time.
All over, right?
Yeah, but that's the show where traditionally retailers would go and get the exclusivity of that.
Sure.
And then it's kind of like how the car market rolls out the next year over in August or September.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
So industry wise, I would imagine that a lot of the stories coming out of 2018 IPCPR are going to be collaborations. I don't think it's going to be like, Padron releases this new, or you can always count on Drew Estate doing something. You know what I mean? But you got some of the regulars that kind of move. But I think that like the theme of the IPCPR is obviously going to be FDA. Where are we now? And we can have that discussion week after week when knowing what the deadlines of the FDA and what consequences are going to happen on either side. Because that was last year's fiasco. And then when I was on radio with Cigar Club Radio in 2015, it was the FDA's coming down perspective. So it was like, what is going to be the fee? What are going to be some of the parameters? What's going to be the predicate date? All of that stuff would come into play. But I think this year it's going to be who's collaborating with who.
Yeah.
I just think that,
And everybody collaborates anyways. A lot of these manufacturers, like if you think like somebody like Ashton, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like Ashton is an unbelievably good brand. I mean, they've been selling cigars for a really long time, tons of brand recognition. They don't have a factory.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? They don't have fields. They are at the end of the day, they're a distributor, right?
Right.
They don't grow the tobacco. They don't roll the tobacco.
Reps
they
currently.
sell the tobacco. You know what I mean? And that's what a lot of us are.
Right.
You know what I mean? So everybody's been collaborating. They have stuff made by Pepin. They have stuff made by a ton of different people. So it's like, or a couple different people.
Mm-hmm.
So there's always been collaboration in the cigar business, and I think calling out to it rather than guys like you who are geeks,
Yep.
you know, who
I accept that. I accept
you
that.
guys like you who know that shit and are like, oh, this is made by this factory in this country, blah blah blah. I think now they're calling attention to it, and I think
Right.
I think that's a cool little transition where manufacturers or distributors, honestly, are giving credit to the manufacturers that are actually putting this shit together.
Mm-hmm.
So I think a lot of times it's good for everybody. It's good for the distributor. It's good for the manufacturer at the end. It's good for everybody.
I think it's good enough for all around brand awareness of premium tobacco.
Mm-hmm.
But my question is just simple from a business perspective. Who's grasping on to whom for the market share of the collaboration? And
I know what you mean.
And that, you know what I mean, because you've known me for so many years, and you know how I think about business and whatnot. But, like, not to name specific names, but, you get some cigar manufacturers who have a lower price point and more of a market share. And then you get other manufacturers who have a higher price point and a lower market share. And then you have a cigar company or a cigar product that meets somewhere in the middle at a higher price point than the lower price point, but a lower price point from the higher one. Everybody still firing?
Absolutely,
Right.
nobody is following you, Joe.
No one's
But
following me?
I understand.
right,
I understand what you're saying.
It
in
could be
that
the rum.
If
I'm on rum now.
listen, if I'm, for example, not like just using this as an example, AJ Fernandez, like I said, has been making a lot of cigars for a lot of different people.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm AJ Fernandez, who has my own cigar line, you know what I mean, and I'm trying to sell San Latano and New World and AJ Fernandez stuff, and I make a really good cigar for whatever, H. Upman by AJ Fernandez, and I make a really good cigar, customers are going to be like, well, okay, well, if you're making really good shit for other people, then why would we support your core? You know what I mean?
Right,
like,
right.
But why would, if this was such a good blend, why wouldn't you just manufacture it and release it under your own name? Why would you make it for somebody else? And that isn't necessarily true. That sounds really like a reasonable perspective for somebody to have, but it's specious. It's not necessarily true, because AJ Fernandez makes a ton of cigars for a lot of people. You know what I mean? He's got a factory. Why wouldn't he make cigars for people that order them? And why wouldn't he make the best product for a customer that he could? So it's a weird dynamic. But from the manufacturer's standpoint, I look at that and say, oh, good for AJ, man. He's making a shitload of H. Upmans, or he's making a shitload of Monte Cristos or whatever for Altadis, for General, for all these different people. Good for him, man. He's got a factory. He's got tobacco. He's a good blender. He's a good grower. He can do all this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I wish I can't knock his hustle, because I wish I would make a cigar for those guys or whatever. The fact of the matter is, it's the optics of the situation are strange, and it takes sort of an insider's sort of perspective for you to understand how benign him doing that actually is.
Mm-hmm. So let me ask you this question, without going off a tangent that we've already done, but it's okay, right? Do you think that them putting collaboration in the forefront from a marketing perspective is a good thing, because it's bringing more brand awareness to premium tobacco?
Yeah.
As opposed to
if I'm AJ and I'm releasing an H. Upman for $7 by AJ, and it's going to get into a ton of new guys' hands, and they're going to say, oh, well, this doesn't taste like the usual H. Upmans that I smoke. Oh, this is by AJ Fernandez. Well, maybe I'll go try AJ Fernandez.
Absolutely.
Why would I keep smoking this when I could just try what the dude is actually putting together himself?
Certainly a win that could be had by both sides.
There's a ton of symbiosis.
It's all about saturation, isn't it? I mean, market saturation.
Yeah, because there's no switching costs between
Right.
product. Absolutely.
There you go.
It's having your name in the customer's face as often as you possibly can.
As often,
And
right.
then when you get the customer, it's not just acquiring a customer, it's keeping a customer.
Sustainability.
Right, and getting them to go back, like you said.
Yeah.
I love this. Let me go back and
Yeah.
try those.
And getting to have
know?
that, for that
Yeah.
customer to have that dialogue with themselves is such a challenging marketing opportunity. And that's what if every company, independently of industry, if every company could get their customers to have that dialogue, to have the customers talk themselves in to trying your product.
Right.
I mean,
That's all you
God,
want.
what a goal.
You
You
want
know, like,
a chance for everybody to try what you have to
and then
offer.
it's got to stand on
That's
its
what it comes
own,
down to.
absolutely.
Right.
But you got to get them there.
Right.
That's awesome. One more stick by Joe D.
Got one more.
Is it a good one?
Yeah, it's a winner.
I love it.
Atelier Lancero by Casey Johnson. Ecuadorian Sancti Spiritus wrapper, Nicaraguan binder and filler. I had the 7.5 by 38 Lancero, $10 price point, 4 sizes, box of 15, made at my father's factory. Natural tobacco, earth, cedar, a little bit of spice. Perfect construction all the way through, and smoke. And Sector Spiritus is a hybrid of Criollo and Palo de Oro. Regular production, medium in strength, and this is a Fight-Chuck Norris for me all day long.
Whoa.
I happen to be partial to Letelier La Mission. That's one of my favorites. This stick has eluded me, and I happen to trip over it in the humidor. And I happen to love Lanceros.
Right next door was in the bottom right.
Yeah. Right next door, and man, was this thing good.
Yeah.
Stopped me on my tracks. Delicious all the way through. Smoked like a champ.
What size is it?
That's
19 what?
Lancero, 7.5 by 38.
Okay. Yeah.
Yep.
Fight
Letelier.
Chuck Norris.
Chuck Norris is getting his ass kicked in the parking lot over this one. Yeah.
That's the second
he's
to the
gonna get
highest rating on Stogie Geeks.
Nice.
The highest is Oasis. Then you have Fight-Chuck Norris. Then you have Box Worthy, Box Split with a friend.
Future episodes, I'm going to get into the other sizes. I want to see where they're at because I'm partial to the Lancero. Maybe my rating is skewed a little bit, but for me right here, right now, Chuck Norris all day. He's getting some.
Really?
Yep.
I'm gonna have to
We'll revisit. Yeah.
You're piquing my curiosity there, Joe D.
Likewise, man. Every show.
You're piquing my curiosity.
Leave the show, hop right in the humidor or two, and find some of those gems.
Awesome.
Yep.
Awesome.
Great
Jared,
show, boys.
thank you very much for staying here and coming up here on studio.
Thank
you very much for being
Thanks
there.
for having
Jared
me. Appreciate
Trudeau
it.
from Christoph Cigars. Joe D, thank you for helping me co-host the show.
My pleasure.
Appreciate it.
Mr. Paul Kabisky.
Appreciate it. And then we have Paul Kabisky from Boot Black Brand. Check him out, bootblackbrand.com. I was your host this week for episode 254 of Stogie Geeks.
You kept
We
it.
will see you next week.